From the 33 and a third Music Appreciation Center in Speakeasy, it's the Infectious Groove Podcast, now celebrating 4 episodes. I know.
We did it.
We did it. To be honest, I put this off for so long. I'm pleasantly surprised that we're in a month into it now.
Yay.
You know? Yeah. So
hell yeah.
And growing little bit by little bit, which is sweet. So this week on the show, we're going to be talking about the first albums we ever bought. Now, we did mention that previously, very briefly. We all mentioned the first albums that we bought, but to me, it's more important that we talk about the hows and whys, why we bought those albums. The impact that they still have on us and so on. So we're gonna get into that in a little bit. But right off the top, we got a little bit of news, trying to follow the format that we kind of created on the last episode. And we're going to start off the news with some really good distribution news. Kyle, where can everybody hear us now?
Oh man, we are all over the place.
Huh? Can they hear us everywhere?
Everywhere. We are everywhere. Main places are all the places that you would normally go to listen to podcasts. So iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher.
So if I listen to podcasts,
yes,
I can find the Infectious Groove
Yeah,
podcast.
and on mostly any platform that you can think of, our feed will get pulled onto their platform at some point, just because of how they add to their systems.
Yeah. But I think the biggest deal really is Apple and Spotify.
Yes,
right?
yes, those are the two main ones.
We'll get into some feedback later, by the way, but at least 2 people have got at me and said that there's just 10 kinds of easier to listen on Apple, which is, I'm sure, why people use Apple more. But I already had people get back at me and say, "Oh, thanks, I'm real excited that it's on those platforms."
Another easy platform to listen on is Google Podcasts, but I'm still waiting for us to get pulled onto there because of how they do their whole thing. Basically, they just scrub the internet for podcast feeds, and if they're popular enough, they get pulled onto their platform.
Well, Google's not really known for having a good search algorithm, so it'll take them a minute.
And they used to have a way where you could submit your podcast, but that no longer exists. So I don't know. That's what we're waiting on.
Yeah.
But other than that, we are everywhere. Any podcast app that you use, I almost guarantee you we are on.
Yeah, and I had friends of mine who said in the early days it was hard to early days as much as a week ago. No, and by early days I mean when I said, "Hey, we're on here now," they couldn't find it.
Yeah.
But then a couple hours later they were able to search and find it, and then I've never used an Apple product in my life, and I was able to find it on Apple Podcasts. So.
Yep. Pocket Cast, Podcast Addict, Radio Public,
Stitcher,
everywhere. A bunch of ones that you've never heard of, probably. Also, I made it so we are everywhere,
which is cool. They support us, and so we'll happily support them.
Yeah,
that's for damn sure. So. Cool. We'll actually get back a little bit into that later on near the end of the episode. So one thing that's kind of a side note here is we are recording this episode a lot earlier in the week than we usually would. It'll still be out. Y'all will still be hearing it on Monday of next week. So when we move into our music news segment here, there's a couple of things. Number one, I actually didn't even ask if you guys have any music news because it's been, it's been such a short time. I do have some to share, but things may come out. There might be something gargantuan that gets announced like tomorrow or Friday or Saturday morning, and people listening to this on Monday will be like, "And you didn't even mention that?" That's why we're recording this a little bit earlier. So having said that, I honestly don't know. Michelle, did you hear anything that you wanted to report?
The only thing I heard was, I didn't even hear it. I saw it, was a billboard on my way home from work.
Oh, yeah.
That with the Rolling Stones mouth and lips, and it said "Miss You" on it. And I immediately thought that we had lost Mick Jagger.
Not Keith Richards, Mick Jagger, you thought.
True story, everybody. She texted me immediately. She was like, "What happened?" I saw a billboard, and it said "Miss You," and it had the Stones logo on. And I was actually, this was going to be a tiny part of my news, too. But and this is funny because we're recording this the night before, but they're going to announce the U.S. tour tomorrow. So that's why the billboards were out this week as like teasers. So on Thursday, they're going to announce the latest U.S. tour. But what's funny is I didn't even know Detroit was part of it, but it's obviously going to be if the billboards are here.
Yeah. And so I immediately texted Russ as soon as I got home and was like, what had happened? And because I Googled it and nobody had died.
Which is good.
Yeah, which is always good. So that was the only music news that I had.
Anything you hear about, Kyle?
Yeah, more tour stuff. Incubus is going on tour. Woohoo!
Yeah, I'm not a fan, but I know that's going to be huge.
Yeah, and so is Slipknot again.
Yeah.
Going on some sort of big their roadshow tour thing that they do all the time.
Is it a package tour type thing, like with several bands, or is it just...
Okay. Yeah, and it's going to be at DTE here.
Oh, right on.
But yeah.
We should go to that.
Yeah,
because you'd be excited about it, and if I did see them, it was on like that Ozfest that we discussed before. I wouldn't have been there for them that day. Like if back in the day, if I went to an Ozfest, I was going to watch Zakk Wylde.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
So,
The only other thing that I can think of that's been whirling around everywhere is the stupid shit about the big game.
Yeah,
which I'm so tired of hearing about.
Yeah, we actually got a lot of comments and feedback on the last episode. A lot of people were like, "Oh, good timing," you know, and I was like, that's why we did it when we did it, you know. And it wasn't, you know, what's funny is with those two artists, you don't expect lip syncing to be an issue.
Yeah.
So I don't even think a lot of people were upset over that. I think it was just, I think it was more of a faux outrage situation.
So everyone, well, not everyone. It's probably that like 1 million moms account online that like gets mad about everything online.
Yeah,
but it's just one lady that runs it.
The reason why the WWE isn't entertaining anymore.
But like they were just basically saying that it was like Shakira and J-Lo were being inappropriate, like they were inappropriately dressed and dancing inappropriately and all the dumb shit. That's dumb.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sure they liked it when Adam Levine had his top off, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a whole thing. I file it under it is what it is, you know, and I'm not kidding. We don't have this on our topic of, or list of topics, rather, for the future. We should put it on there, like what's inappropriate for TV and whatnot. Yeah, because it's definitely...
That's going to be a whole thing.
And the standard has changed quite a bit. So.
Well, you know what? Maybe next year we can have Joel Osteen and Kanye West do Sunday service at the big game. So then nobody gets offended.
You laugh. So help me God, if we have to do a rewind next year in like October whenever they announce it, we're like, if y'all remember on episode 4 when Kyle called it, I'm going to be... And I guess so help me God is appropriate, right? So, anyways, I only had a couple of pieces of news to share. Number one was I was going to tell everyone that I knew about the Stones tour ahead of time, but someone already spoiled that.
That was my only music news.
No, that's fine. But yeah, the Stones are doing another tour. The other thing that I heard was that GNR is doing a tour. I think those tickets are on. It was announced like 2 days ago, and it's going to be the tickets I think are on sale Friday. But as an adjacent note to that, Rolling Stone wrote an article and tore them up one side and down the other. There were things, I mean, y'all know I'm a huge GNR fan, right?
What?
Yeah, I know. There were things in the article that I didn't even realize. Do you want to take a guess at what leg number of the tour this is? Like, okay, so me and you have been going to concerts forever, right?
Yeah.
And there's times where I'll say to you, well, we'll hope for a third leg and we'll see them then, or about whomever, right? Either you want to take a guess at what leg number this is of this tour?
Oh God,
12.
14. and the issue is the whole time anybody puts a mic in somebody's face from GNR is like, oh, and there's new music coming. And I don't know if you guys have ever noticed GNR's track record for releasing new material, but it's not good.
No.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So anyways, I won't get too much into that, but for those of you interested, or if you haven't seen GNR with Axl, Slash and Duff together, they will be coming back to you real soon. It's like the middle of July when they're hitting Detroit. So
they're doing Comerica?
Yeah, they're doing Comerica Park. They opened the first leg at Ford Field.
Is that the show that I went to?
In 2016, yeah.
That was the first leg of
that
this tour.
Tour is still going. Yes.
What?
Yeah, the one that you saw 4 years ago, that tour is still going.
That's not a thing.
It is a thing. Let me tell you something that I've learned. It's a thing in Axl world. So, anyways, the only other thing that I want to pass on is music news, and this may come as a news to you guys. Did you know that Kesha put out a new record, and at least I didn't notice?
I did not know that.
I did know because there is a billboard on the highway on the way down to the city.
What's with you guys getting your music news from
it's good marketing, apparently.
And when you say billboard, you don't mean .com.
No.
You mean
on
the side of the freeway. There was a billboard that did not... No, it said her name and had her looking completely different than what she normally does.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, she must have new stuff coming out.
Yeah.
I didn't know when or whatever, but yeah.
So I haven't listened to it yet, but it's called High Road, and it came out last Friday. So what were you going to say?
There was just some Kesha song that was on my Spotify this morning that
Was it from an album called High Road? Because if so...
I don't know what album it was from, but I remember being... Not that I listened to a lot of Kesha anyways, but I remember being like, oh, that's... Like, I like this song. I don't know if it was new or not, so it might have been
If it was on a playlist that populated for you, then...
Yeah, it was probably from the new album, and I liked it. Mm-hmm. So I just thought it was old stuff I hadn't heard.
Kesha's one of those artists that I like her so much that... like even her last record, I wanted to like it more than I did because you know what I mean.
Yeah, I liked some songs a lot, but the rest of it was just meh for me.
Yeah, but yeah, I like her as a person so much that I think I'll go for it no matter what. You know. So actually, one thing, and you should both put your drinks down for this so you don't drop them and spill them.
Who's drinking?
We have a correction from last week.
Is it me?
For me.
Oh, what?
my god!
Cow, back up from your mic when you laugh that hard.
Holy shit!
Actually received a complaint about that last week. Someone said they had to cover their speaker whenever you laugh because you laugh right into the microphone. Anyways, we have a correction from our friend Pat Riley in Minneapolis.
Oh boy.
Pat is 100% correct. Ozzy Osbourne did bite the head off a bat. However, and I cannot believe we live in a world where I need to get my story straight on which animals Ozzy bit when. But Ozzy bit the head off a dove at the record release party, like I was saying, when he sat on the daughter's of the record label's lap. And then 2 years later in Des Moines, as you do, bit the head off of a bat on stage. So there were two different head-biting animal incidents from Ozzy. And our friend Pat out in Minneapolis listened to it, and he said, "Oh, I got a correction." And I said, "All right, well, we'll give you credit for it." So,
thanks, Pat.
Yeah, thanks, Pat. And if anybody ever has any corrections, if you ever hear one of us state something as fact, Michelle's opinion is not a fact. But if you,
I like to think it's a fact.
yeah, if you hear one of us state something as fact and we're wrong, by all means, let us know. Come with the facts, though. Let us know. I think Pat said something like, 2 years later on tour or whatever, and I Googled it, and sure as hell, there was that story about Des Moines, Iowa, where, apparently people bring bats to shows and throw them on stage. So another thing that we did in our first segment last week was we were talking about what we are listening to. There again, I know this is a little bit of a truncated week, but Kyle, what have you been listening to the last couple of days?
All rap this week.
Oh. Just like country then.
I've really been listening to Music to Be Murdered By over and over and over again.
Did you just borrow Michelle's copy from last week?
Because it never ceases to amaze me. I catch something different that he does and says in every...
I think it was after we were done last week, y'all played that one song for me where it's
Godzilla?
it's even faster than Rap God.
Yeah, he set a world record for it.
Jesus.
Oh, and for anybody that doesn't know what I'm talking about the new Eminem album.
Yeah, Music to Be
Murdered By. Yeah. Also, I tossed in the new Yo Gotti album in there.
Cool.
And?
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like as in it went on immediate repeat, or you listened to it a couple times?
I listened to it all the way through once.
Okay.
Because I heard that it came out and I wanted to check it out.
Sure. So unlike what I did with Kesha, which was heard it came out and then didn't get to listening to it yet.
Yeah. It's called Untrapped.
Untrapped by...
Yo Gotti.
Okay. Right on. It's been pretty much those two records for you.
The 90% Eminem.
Yeah.
Yeah, just... I don't know. I get sucked into it.
What's going to happen
time.
is I'm going to wait for that to get pressed to vinyl, and that's when I'm really going to dig into it, I think, because I'm going to buy it anyways.
Yeah.
So not that, and I don't need to get into this right now, but rap albums don't have a history of having great pressings
on
vinyl, I guess, most of the time because they're meant for DJing, and so they're going to get ripped up anyways. But I'm not going to do it for the fidelity. I just know I'm going to buy it anyways. So what are you listening to, young lady?
Nothing, no music this week that's new. It's mostly the same old, but I've been really into Stuff You Should Know, the podcast. I haven't flow through that. Sometimes I just can't get enough, and then other times I'm like, so that's what I'm listening to this week.
Right on. My 3 big tracks, and again, this is more of what you're learning, and she knows the thing where I get songs and I just am like, I'm going to listen to this one 300 times.
Yeah.
These 3 songs could not be any more different if I tried. One is I've been listening to Work It Out by Beyonce a ton, which is from, I think the only thing it appears on is the Austin Powers soundtrack. I think it was meant to be in Goldmember, and it is just a jam. Like, whew, it is. I mean, it's like just a nasty beat, and her vocal is real nasty, and like it's real.
I don't know that I know it.
You should. When we're done, I'll play it for you. No, I will not sing it. But if anybody, look it up. It's a song called. I'm pretty sure there's only one version of it on Spotify. It's just called "Work It Out." So you can't when I say look it up, because a lot of times with R&B and rap, if I say look it up, and you look it up, there's going to be like 10 whack remixes.
Oh yeah.
And then you're going to be like, no, why was he listening to this garbage? So I think there's only the one. Another song I had stuck in my head that could not be any more different than that is a song called Midlife Crisis by Faith No More, which Faith No More was really known for the hits off their first 2 records, Epic and Falling to Pieces. And Midlife Crisis is the first single off the record after that. And you know how I always champion the record that's like not as popular, you know.
Yeah.
Midlife
The
Crisis.
Underdog.
What's that?
The Underdog.
Yeah, Midlife Crisis is just a monster jam. Like, it's one of those songs that when somebody comes out and they play at such a level commercially, you think, well, there's no way they're going to do this again, you know? And it's even worse when they come out and they play at the same level musically and then they don't get the recognition, you know? So Midlife Crisis is every bit as good as Falling to Pieces and Epic, but it just didn't, you know, I mean, the record's what I would call like critically and fan acclaimed. Like, if you walk up to any man wearing a Faith No More shirt and you're like, what do you think of Angel Dust? He's going to be like, oh, it's a great record. And he's going to go on about how you even know the name of it, you know?
Yeah.
But if you talk to the average person and you go, you know, hey, let's listen to some Faith No More, it's going to be Epic or Falling to Pieces that they want to hear. So last song is, and again, could not be more different than the other two, but I'm sure you're both familiar with Edie Brickell and New Bohemians, What I Am. And if you're not, it was a monster hit for them in the late 80s. Well, that whole record, Shooting Rubber Bands at the Stars, every song on that record is killer. Every song. And What I Am is one of those songs that was deserving to be so huge. It's not like you hear the record and you go, oh, this is garbage and the rest of the record's great. Why is this one song so big? You know? Yeah. But the rest of the record, I don't think there's a dud on it. Like, every single song on the record kills. And there's a song called Nothing that is, I don't want to call it an acoustic ballad, but it kind of is. And it's one of those, it's like the chorus of it is, there's nothing I hate more than nothing, like nothing keeps me up at night, nothing could cause a great big fight. So it's like lack of communication,
right?
You know, when you know, hey, what's the matter? Nothing. You know, it's it's just a great song, and I love her voice. She's one of those people, she could sing the phone book and I would listen to it. But yeah, those are my 3 jams, and you know how it is. I've at least 20 times for each one.
That's a low count.
Yeah,
I have a fun fact for you guys about Yo Gotti, actually.
Uh-oh.
He just recently, within the last week or so, bought back all of his masters.
Yes.
So he owns all of his own shit now.
Good.
And doesn't have to rely on the record
That's
label
awesome.
for anything.
Everyone should own their own masters.
Absolutely.
To quote Prince Rogers Nelson, you own your masters or your masters own you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
That was a brilliant young man. That little guy from Minneapolis. Do you remember him?
From New Girl?
Yeah, he was. He was a guest star on New Girl once. But that's slick. That's real slick.
Yep.
So good, including the new record, I would assume.
Yeah,
it was actually probably part of the deal.
Yeah, so he owns all of his own stuff.
That's a slick move. Giving it the old, oh, you'd like another record?
Yeah.
Oh, well, fantastic.
Oh, yeah, actually, this was his last. This album that just came out was his last.
The last one he owned the label.
Oh, yeah, it was the last one that he owed the label, I believe.
Okay.
And so now he owns all of his own stuff.
I'm trying so hard not to sidebar all the time, but Dark Side of the Moon was the last record that Pink Floyd owed Capitol. Mm-hmm. And so Capitol more or less was like, hey, take all the money you want to make this because goodbye.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's a lot of the groundbreaking effects that were used in the studio were used because Capitol was throwing money at it, being like, we're rid of this.
I think he's signed to Capitol as well.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. Well, you know, Pink Floyd was signed to a totally different label after Dark Side of the Moon came out. Well, in America, at least. So, yeah, that's a little bit about the episode. A little bit about where you can find us, the music news that we knew about, and the what we're listening to right now. So, kind of shifting the format a little bit. We're continuing to evolve. We're going to jump right into this week's topic of discussion, which is the first albums that we bought, but not just, here's the first albums that we bought. Okay, goodbye. You know, more talking about what they meant to us, like why we bought them and so on. So, break into it a little bit. I guess we'll start with Kyle. What's the first record that you ever bought, but more importantly, why'd you buy it?
So this was before I'll go back to what I said before about Puff Daddy and No Way Out. That was the first album that I didn't buy it directly, but it was mine. It came from like those city club things, whatever. Mm-hmm. And
for the record, I didn't buy my first record with my money.
Yeah,
like, you know, but
right.
it was definitely my first album. Yeah.
And so everything involving Puff Daddy and Bad Boy Records, any of that stuff, I was very, very heavy into that at that time. Mm-hmm. And
prior to the release of No Way Out, you were already into them?
No, after. Okay. So I think No Way Out came out, and then like the Mace album came out. Then like further on, there was like Black Rob and like all those guys. Of course, Biggie as well.
So that's the family part.
Yeah, right. And I think that I was so into that because it was so different than what I was used to. Because because I didn't grow up around any of the stuff that they were talking about, and it was all flashy. And
So how'd you come into it then? Was it an MTV thing or?
It must have been MTV, and then I seen that the No Way Out was on that in the CD ordering thing, and I had my mom order it.
Oh sure,
But of course it was
Columbia House deal.
Yeah, it was the edited version. That's all she would let me get.
Yeah.
But after I listened to that, I was like hooked on all of it, and it spawned into what else? Cameron, the Diplomats, all the stuff from like New York and Nas and
hold your thought on that because we're going to get into like it impacting you later in a little bit. But it pretty much. It was one like you saw it and you had to have it.
Yeah, that is the first album that I can say that I actually like wanted to obtain. Yeah, obtained it, and then
up till that point,
it all
everything was just around.
Yeah.
So it was like if you wanted to hear, like we talked before, Aerosmith or Michael or whatever, your mom had it.
Yeah, my mom had all that stuff, and I was able to listen to it, whatever.
Right.
But that was the first thing that I think that I wanted to be like, hey, I want this. Can you order it for me? Got it, and listen to
Yeah, nonstop. Yeah. I think that ownership comes with that, where like when it's yours.
Yeah.
Even if your first record was crap, you're going to be like, but it's mine.
Right.
Yeah. So, speaking of first albums being crap, Michelle. No, I'm just kidding.
You're not kidding.
I am. I sincerely am. What was the first record you bought and why?
The first record I remember buying, it was with a gift card, and I think it was to Suncoast or Sam Goody.
I was going to say it wouldn't have been
Suncoast.
That's for movies, right?
Yeah, Sam Goody is their counterpart.
Mm-hmm. And, it was the music.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it was like they're side by side. Usually they were at the mall.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it was Jagged Little Pill, Alanis Morissette, and then I bought the single for Meredith Brooks' Bitch.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how I forget that about Jagged Little Pill about you. That's a monster first record to go buy.
Those are the two records that I remember going to the store on my own with the gift card.
And was it the CD single for Bitch?
Yes. I do specifically remember that.
CD singles, yes.
So you didn't get all of her other hits?
I did not. So
just the only one she's ever been known for?
I've still never listened to the rest of that album. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I have either.
Yeah.
Which is like usually I would be the guy that would be like, you should hear this song off of that record. So that's weird.
I know that I like owned CDs before that, but that was like the first CDs that I remember. So being
why buy Jagged Little Pill? Just heard
Ironic was.
Oh wow, so that's late in the cycle.
Yeah, it wasn't because it came out when I was only like 10 or something.
Yeah.
So like by the time it came out and it was already in radio play, like and I probably didn't buy it until I was probably 12 maybe. Mm-hmm. So it was a couple of years that I remember being like, I need this song. I was not allowed to watch MTV when I was a kid, like music videos and stuff. So like not that, and so
that's
like
a great video for Ironic though.
It would I don't even know it.
Really? It's like her. There's like four of her. And she's in a car and
Michelle hates music videos. Just so you know.
Well, she likes it. She's a friend of the lyric video because it's mostly just the song playing.
Yeah, so it had to have been from the radio.
November Rain must have been torture for you then. That's like
I've
10 minutes. You've never seen the November Rain video?
Mm. All the way through. Like I know
that's like classic.
A classic music video?
Yeah.
Mm.
She doesn't believe that people listen to music or watch music videos.
Well, they used to. It used to be a whole thing, man. I promise.
He just told me today, Kyle told me today that that's why they get millions of views on YouTube because people still watch them, and I told him it's just him watching it millions of times.
Very well could be. Very well could be. No, but I don't remember a lot of the other videos from that record, but I like the You Ought to Know video is like it's one of those things where you can tell the difference between when the label believed in the record and when they didn't.
Right.
Because the video for You Ought to Know is like shot in 90s vision. It's like a very yellow filter, poor video quality. She's out in the desert. You can barely see her face.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's just kind of her yelling the song. And then Ironic is like 10 kinds of video effects because it's 4 of her in the car. And so you can tell when Maverick decided to believe in the record by how much money was spent on the video.
I wonder... Was that a movie soundtrack? I wonder if that's how I heard it.
Ironic? I don't think anything off Jagged Little Pill was on a soundtrack.
I was just trying to think. The only other way I would have heard it was on the radio.
Do you know what's my jammy jam off that record? Like the song I could listen to 3,000 times in a row.
That should be a segment. What's your jammy jam?
Oh, maybe we'll do that now. What's my jammy jam? What we're listening to? We'll change it to what's our jammy jam.
Oh man!
But because you hear Hand in My Pocket all the time. You hear You Ought to Know all the time. Ironic, you hear all the time. Still. We're not talking about when the record launched. We're talking about now.
Those are all on the same record.
My jammy jam off that record is All I Really Want. All I Really Want is my jam off of that. Oh man, what a monster cut that is. It's like, to me, if you listen to that one song, everything that's right about that album, it's got like pieces of every song. And I'm not saying they did that on purpose. I'm just, like, everything that's good about that album is all in that one song. Like, it's got a killer beat, it's got a killer bass line, the lyrics are great, it's got clean guitar, it's got heavy guitar like Hand in My Pocket does, and Ironic does, you know. But yeah, I can't get enough of that song.
When you said the name of that song, I immediately thought of All That She Wants by
Ace of Base.
And I was like, that's not even the right artist.
I will say this, as an Ace of Base fan, that song has nothing that's right about Jagged Little Pill in it.
You know, you were asking how I happened upon that album. It might have honestly been, besides of MTV, but it was one of the only edited rap CDs you can get at the time, because Puff Daddy was onto something. So like, hey, if we sell multiple versions of this, and everybody will buy it.
I'm going to get me a rap CD.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my God, like that. Then my mom's like, oh, it has to be edited. And so I was like, that one.
There was a whole debacle that I'll get into another time that I caused myself when Use Your Illusion came out, because there was no edited version of it, where it's a whole thing. But I bought the Use Your Illusion albums and took a chance on the fact that I could get away with them being edited, or not edited rather, and boy, did I not get away with it at all. But yeah, I didn't even think about that. I think rap albums probably were pioneering on that front, like the edited thing. Because I don't think there's any edited version of Jagged Little Pill.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. And I mean, she doesn't just say the one famous thing in You Ought to Know. There's a lot of
yeah.
To be honest, I don't know of any other genre that really has a whole, like a major separate.
Well, I can, just off the top of my head, I can think of other one-off cases like Nirvana.
Oh, absolutely one-offs.
Yeah,
like I feel like all
by Nirvana.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a couple other things too, like, but again, one-offs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, rap is the genre where it's funny. When I first got into collecting vinyl, I had to like go out of my way to make sure that I wasn't getting the edited version of everything.
They edit vinyl?
Oh yeah, but again, a lot of times rap LPs are pressed specifically for DJing. So if you're gonna play the bar mitzvah, you can't play the version of Bitch Please with everything in it.
The two worst artists you could ever have an edited album from is anything that Eminem's done and anything that DMX has done, because it's just barking the entire time. And it's
holy cow!
Listening to it on the radio, I can't help but laugh the entire time.
I'm not kidding you. I think it is the track "Bitch Please" on Marshall Mathers LP. That if you listen to the edited version, there's a verse that's like edit.
Yeah. Half the song ends up being blank.
Yeah.
Like there's
yeah. You know what was rad though, and we're getting way off, but this is good though. Yeah. Is you ever heard the edited version of the Chronic, the first Chronic?
No.
They wrote other verses.
That's great.
So, and I'm not going to say what they are now, but there's some very famous verses in Say Nothing But a G Thing where there's completely different verses on the clean version.
You know, I've noticed that when I hear it, like if we play it down here in the basement or anything, anywhere.
Not my copy of the Chronic, but if we were to play it off streaming.
On the Spotify. On the Spotify. I noticed, I'm like...
On that platform you can listen to us on?
That's
that we're very thankful for?
I noticed, I'm like, those are not the words I know from the radio.
Yep. And I remember it with the Chronic specifically. I remember learning it one way because it was on MTV, you know, and then being like, oh no, he said an F or a B.
For a long time, the only rap that I would hear would be on the radio. Like before I had a lot of CDs and, you know, before any of the way we consume music now existed. And you hear a song over and over again, and then you hear like the uncut version of it, and you're like, oh my God. Like, this song's way different than what I thought it was.
Yeah. And I think Eminem is probably, I don't want to say what's the word. I don't want to say that he's the worst at it, because that's got a negative connotation. But I think that he's probably the one that happens to the most. When you hear the unedited version, you're like, let me put it this way: this cat has tracks on the first Marshall Mathers LP that on the unedited version of the album are still edited.
Yes.
I think the track, the title track, Marshall Mathers, I think is the one that's got, like, it's got names of people taken out of the rhyme scheme on the unedited version. So this cat is so bad that they got to edit the unedited version.
The record label blocked out shit about Columbine on his unedited album. Yeah. He couldn't say it.
The original stuff is out on YouTube.
Yeah,
because there was one rhyme scheme where I was like, whose name is he saying? Like,
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, I'm not, the person is of no interest to me. And then I went to YouTube one day. This is 10 years ago, but I went to YouTube and found the unedited version. So real quick, I'll talk about the first record I ever bought and why. And it's the why behind mine is at least funny to me. The first record I ever bought was Elvis Presley live, or it's called Elvis as Recorded at Madison Square Garden. And what's funny is when I bought the record, I didn't know much about Elvis at all. My mom, this was back when we were shopping in a Perry drugstore, and this was back when the world was safe enough to where your mom could just go over there and do something and then come back. So my mom said, well, just go over to the records and pick something out and come back to the register. So I went over to the record area, and if you ever seen the cover of this record, it's Elvis on stage in 72, and he looks 1,000 feet tall, and he's got a cape. So
the cape really sells it.
Yeah, it does.
No, I'm being serious.
When you're 4, sure, and I literally was like, this is the greatest thing in the world. Like, this is an album with a superhero on the cover. Years later, I would come to find out that he is a superhero, or was. But I literally. And what's funny is I've never in my life since that record bought an album because of the cover. But that was like just not knowing anything.
That's a whole
about
different discussion.
Oh, I know. Oh, wait, it's on the list.
Yeah.
It's on the list. We're gonna get there. Oh, trust me, we're gonna get there. But yeah, it's the one and only record in my lifetime that I've ever bought because of the cover, and I chalk that mistake up to being 4. Now I know better. No, I don't. I don't say it's a mistake. I kid.
That wasn't funny.
What's that?
I said that wasn't funny.
What wasn't funny?
Just kidding. But you said that it was a mistake.
Oh, no, it wasn't a mistake. But my big thing with it was he just looked super cool on the cover. Like, he just looked 10 kinds cool, at least to a 4-year-old. I was like, that dude looks like a superhero, so I'm going to buy this record.
Little did you know he is super cool.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I didn't know going into it, and we're gonna take a break in a minute, and when we get back, we'll come back and get back into this discussion, and we'll talk about like the impact. To say that record had an impact on my life would be the world's biggest understatement. I just figured out, and we'll get into this a little bit, but I just figured out probably within the last 2 years exactly how big of an impact that record had on my life. For years, I just always chalked it up to, that was the first record I ever bought, and I was listening to it here about 2 years ago or so, and it just hit me out of nowhere. I was like, holy cow, this is how big of a deal this record was on my life. So that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with the 3 first records that we bought, a little bit of the hows and whys. When we come back, we're going to get into a little bit about what you touched on earlier. How
my bad, I jumped the gun there.
No, it's fine. It's
You're
great.
fired.
All right, well, just like that.
And then there was 2.
2 of us will be back for the second one. No, but we'll get into a little bit into how the record impacted you going forward, and I also want to get into this thing of where people say, "Oh, I used to be into that," how it still affects you and so on. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with you guys in a couple minutes. Welcome back. First half of the episode, we were talking a little bit about the first records that we ever bought, but more importantly than just the titles, we were talking about the hows and whys, why we bought them, and why they mattered to us at the time, which I think is a big deal. I think it's a bigger deal than most people really pay attention to when they're buying that first album. As we go forward with this discussion, we're going to get a little bit into the length of time that album mattered to you, whether it was something you bought and then just kind of faded away, or if it's something that continued to impact your life, or what the immediate impact was. Like, for example, with mine, the Elvis is Recorded at Madison Square Garden record, again, I truly didn't know anything about him when I bought it. I bought it because he looked like a superhero, Right. And then you would think, if you're going to say, well, the first thing I'm going to listen to is an Elvis record, you would think it's going to be filled with hits and so on, right?
Right.
So coming out of the gate on that record, he opens up with "That's All Right," which is an Elvis cut, it's a song everyone knows Elvis for, rather. But then he covers in a row. He covers CCR. 3 Dog Night. I'm trying to think of, I just mentioned her last week, Dusty Springfield, the Righteous Brothers, all in a row. Tony Joe White, he does a killer cover of Polk Salad Annie on there, which was actually later I would learn it was a staple in his set list years before that. But, so in the first, 6 tracks of this record, he covers tons of other people that have nothing to do with Elvis whatsoever, and the record even has because I'm certain he was completely sick of singing Hound Dog by 1972. It's got what I would call a funky or pre-disco version of Hound Dog on it. Yeah, it's really cool. So, but we talked about the impact that the record had on you, and one, I guess, compliment that I get a lot from social media and the interactions we've had on the show, and I get it a lot in person. I've certainly got it from you and friends of mine, is how diverse my tastes are.
Right.
And I kid you not, I didn't piece it together until 2 years ago. I was sitting down here listening to that record, and I finally pieced it together. That album's the reason why I'm into so much different
Makes
music.
sense.
So you buy an Elvis Presley live record, and he opens up with "That's All Right, Mama," which it's like double time.
Yeah.
He wasn't up there just going, "No, that's all right." I mean, it's like, "That's all right, Mama." It's real fast,
Yeah.
And he comes out of that into CCR. And at the age that I bought it, I had never heard CCR before, So he comes out of that into Proud Mary. And then I want to get this right. Let me look at the track listing. Yeah, he comes out of that into Never Been to Spain. He comes out of that into Three Dog Night. So when I was a kid, whenever I heard those other songs, I knew them because Elvis did it, but then I would listen to that band more. So you know what one I missed too? He covers CCR. He does Proud Mary. Tina Turner has one of the most popular versions of Proud Mary that there is. But a lot of people, interchange the two between CCR and Tina Turner. And, so when Tina Turner, in 84 or whatever, when she had What's Love Got to Do with It, I was like, oh, that's in my brain. Oh, that's an association with Elvis. So I was looking into it,
Yeah.
So, and even the rest of the record, I mean, I'm front loading heavy on the record, but because he gets into his hits later, he does, like I say, Hound Dog and Suspicious Minds, or as he calls it on the record, Suspicious Minds. But he does For the Good Times and Funny How Time Slips Away. He covers Ray Charles. He does I Can't Stop Loving You on there, and so again, if you piece it together, which it took me, I don't know, about 40 years to do, so I buy that record in 79 or 80, and then when Ray Charles is on We Are the World with Michael Jackson, it's instantly cool because Elvis covered Ray Charles, and now Ray Charles is on the song with Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? So I think that was one of the things that really opened me up to that, and then getting into Pink Floyd at such an early age.
Wait, you like Pink Floyd?
I do. You know what? Actually, let's sidebar real quick. Do you want me to tell you the history of the band? I mean, so what's funny for me, though, is that record had a profound impact on my life musically, or actually my life as a whole. And I didn't even figure out how much it impacted my life until 2 years ago.
That makes sense.
Which makes sense.
Which part? All of it?
The impact, or that I didn't figure, or that I was dumb for 40 years.
That part.
That part.
Yeah.
That's the one. So Kyle, we'll go over to you and talk to you about this a little bit. You kind of let us into this a little bit. When you buy No Way Out and it's a rap record, how did it impact you immediately as far as you're listening?
That kind of opened up the floodgates for everything rap that was out at that time.
Yeah.
Before,
we joked earlier, but And the Family was that's a natural door.
Yeah, so there's Mace and Black Rob and Biggie, of course. You listen to Biggie, then it opens up to Tupac, and then you get all the West Coast stuff. On top of that, there's a bunch more East Coast stuff too.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so then there's Nas, Cameron, the Diplomats, all these guys from New York City, and then it just starts to cascade into No Limit, Master P, Cash Money, Hot Boys, Lil Wayne.
Holy cow!
Yeah, and then
that just opened the door to every damn thing.
And then 3-6 Mafia, DJ Paul, Juicy J.
So to say that
Fraser
it had
Boy.
an impact on your immediate listening habits would be an understatement.
Yeah. It just everything cascaded from that album, I would say. And then it was just all hell broke loose after that. That's what I listened to for a long, long time.
Now, let me ask you this, and I don't mean this in a negative way towards Puffy, but Puffy was sample heavy.
Yeah.
Right? Did that help you get into different types of music, or did that not really matter one way or the other?
That didn't matter back then.
Okay. So it wasn't like when he what's the one where he samples Every Breath You Take, the Biggie tribute song.
Yeah,
but that type of thing. It wasn't like you were like, oh, I gotta go hear.
I'll be missing you.
It was okay. So when you heard that, it wasn't like, oh, I gotta go hear the Police.
No.
Okay.
It was not like so. I was exposed to a lot of different stuff from my parents, when I was younger. But it wasn't until I got older where I was. Back then, I was like, oh, it's just old people music. That's like what the old people listen to, and I want to listen to my own shit. And then when I got older, I'm like, oh wait, they were onto something. Like all of that stuff they listen to is awesome.
Yeah,
and it's actually all awesome. It's not old people shit.
And you know what's funny, and this is something else that I think Elvis assisted me with is I skipped that phase. Not like I'm not trying to be like, oh, I was a better music listener than other people, but because. Like, yes, Elvis was doing contemporary stuff, right? Like CCR and whatnot, but he was also doing like Tony Joe White when he was doing Polk Salad Annie. And so I think I just was like, oh, well, Elvis is doing this in 72. That song came out in the, late 40s or early 50s. Like, so I don't think I put that timestamp, but every other person I've ever known has been like, oh, what you listened to was crap. And it works in reverse too. It's the music, the music today is,
And I don't think that I cared enough about where the music came from that they were making for it to worry about at that time.
Fair enough.
For Sting to be involved.
So, like, when More Money, More Problems come out, you weren't like, oh, you're ripping off Diana Ross.
Right, yeah. I had no clue at that time that was a thing that they were doing.
I went through that phase, too. Where
until later on, I was like, oh, my God, this is amazing. That they've done all this stuff.
So, we talked a little bit off air about, like, there was definitely a switch.
There was a switch.
Where you went from that to something harder.
For the longest time, I listened to almost everything rap, like I just mentioned. Anything I can get my hands on. Most of it was me going to the CD store, hoping that they weren't going to card me because I wasn't old enough to buy a Pearl Advisory CD.
Throwback to my Use Your Illusion story.
Yeah. Most of it was that. Just anything I could get my hands on, I would try to borrow my friends' CDs, like all that kind of stuff. Fast forward to when I was 15 or so, my parents got divorced, and I didn't know it at the time, but I used music as a complete outlet for that entire situation.
You could be your best friend in that moment.
It was my absolute best friend in that moment.
Was the invention of songs like Break Stuff?
Oh yeah. So
happy moment for you.
So I mean,
I say that jokingly, but not.
Yeah.
No, you know what I mean. I bet at that age. Something like that happens to you and a song called Break Stuff comes out, you're like, I'm going to be breaking stuff.
I can vividly remember times when I would go in my room, lock my door, and turn Slipknot as loud as I could on
those readers
my
are just in the red.
Yeah, and just as loud as I could. And my mom was probably super pissed off at the time, but I didn't care.
Sure,
it was what they were saying,
and that's part of it, right?
What they were saying, I was feeling, and that's all I cared about.
Yeah,
and from then on, it was Slipknot, Metallica, Dope, Primer 55, Fear Factory, Seven Dust.
Holy cow!
Soulfly, Drowning Pool, Rammstein.
Soulfly, wow.
Marilyn Manson.
Oh yeah.
All inclusive of all of that.
So let me ask you this. My question is this: it wasn't that you said, "Oh, that I don't want anything to do with rap." It was more of an emotional thing.
Yeah.
Was rap still concurrent?
Oh yeah, I still had I still had my whole CD book full of rap CDs.
Okay.
I had them split. Rap in this book and rock and
when I'm trying to have a good time, it's this half of the CD book, and when I'm angry about the world situation at whole.
And lots of times I would flop back and forth. Actually, what I think the real transition was probably Eminem.
Sure.
Because then it was like, this isn't like gangster rap music. This is like angry, I'm going to kill you rap music. And
he should name a song that.
and there was a lot of
especially those first two records.
A lot of what he was saying is I was feeling at the time too. So I naturally gravitated from him into all of the heavy rock stuff.
Be a great bridge.
Yeah,
like between the two.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, bands like Cold Chamber. These bands don't even exist anymore. But I was heavy into that stuff.
Yeah, I bet they do though. I bet they're playing. No, and I don't say that to be funny. I bet they're playing the Token or the Machine Shop.
Cold Chamber, I think, is a done thing. But bands
I think Seven Dust is still.
I think they are. Obviously, Slipknot's still a thing. Soulfly, I think, might be too. I'm not sure. I don't listen to all of these bands all of the time anymore.
Sure, yeah.
But that was.
Well, the world keeps getting bigger too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as Jagged Little Pill, how does that go for you? Did you instantly go, okay, I'm going to listen to empowered women now, or did it just no? And I'm just curious, because I will say that when that record came out for me, although it was far from my first record, it did make me pay more attention to Meredith Brooks and the Indigo Girls and Sarah McLachlan and whatnot. I'm not going to say I went head in on all that. I went to a couple of little affairs, but I didn't go all in on it. I was just curious if that happened for you.
Now that you're talking about the empowering women thing, Kitty, the band Kitty.
Oh yeah,
Jesus Christ, man! I used to be heavy into that too. That was.
I went and saw Kitty at Harpo's Music Theater.
Really?
Oh,
yes.
Music theater.
Yeah, I think legally it's called Harpo's Music Theater. For those of you who are not from Detroit, Harpo's is the definition of the sticky floor, looking over your shoulder.
Theater is not what I would call it.
Well, Harpo's Adult Music Theater.
Harpo's Concert Hole.
In any case, yes, Kitty, great call out. Yeah, and a family member wanted to go see Kitty, and it was one of those things where I could return the favor. My sister, when I was too young to go to shows on my own, would take me to shows.
Yes,
and a family member wanted to go see Kitty, and my sister was not having it, and I said, "Well, I'll go." And they actually covered Pink Floyd.
I got turned on to them because they were obviously they were all women. I before them there wasn't really women in rock and metal and
in the mainstream.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, they're all girls and they can rock just as hard as the fucking guys do. Like, this is amazing.
And I think Alanis brought that to the forefront. I wouldn't call Jagged Little Pill a rock album.
No.
But it brought that to the forefront where, like, at least me, I was like, phew, looks like the ladies have something to say right now, you know? So I feel like we just laid that groundwork and now you're going to be like, none of that mattered to me, but...
Not so much.
Sure. Go on.
So I feel like when I mean, in that stage of my life, I was listening to a lot of stuff that my parents were listening to. I thought that was super sweet. It was all like the Beatles and the Beach Boys, and like,
which is funny. We were just talking about so many people say like, what my parents listened to is crap.
No, yeah.
And you're the one that was like, right on.
Yeah, just oldies in general, and then anything that was trendy on the radio. So that was, I can honestly say when I bought Jagged Little Pill, I listened to the hits. When I bought it, like I was just like track 2, 5, 7, whatever it was. I was like,
I was going to say, no one has skipped "Not the Doctor" more than you.
Yes,
sure.
So it was,
which by the way is a fabulous track, but it's not your jam apparently.
It's not my jam. I think I've listened to the album all the way through several times since then, but it's not been like, look at all these awesome songs.
So no immediate impact at all.
No, and I think that's the only record by Alanis that I've ever owned, and I mean she does have a new single out that I like, but I've never been like a diehard fan. I don't know that I would ever pay to see her in concert. I don't know.
I feel like I have seen her.
So I don't know.
So there wasn't a point where you said, like, how do I want to say this? I don't want to insult the record, but it wasn't a game changer for you.
No, not at all. I was very much, if I was buying stuff on CD when I was young, it was stuff that I had already loved on the radio, and I couldn't find the CD single for that. It was like...
Gotcha.
What changed the game for you? What snowballed from one thing into the other?
Changed what game?
The music game. What snowballed... What opened the door for you listening to a whole bunch of other shit that you had never heard of before?
It would probably have to be... I don't know. I honestly think it was probably Good Charlotte was the one where I was like, this is like some...
Yeah, because you still are, but you were like headlong into that genre.
Yeah, and I was very much into that, and then I was back when
Taking Back Sunday,
and
Brand New, who would go on to put out a fantastic record called Daisy.
Nope. Brand New, Dashboard Confessional.
Yeah.
All that.
Oh, I think around the time we met, you were
real into Dashboard.
Oh, good old Chris Caraba.
Yeah. Still am big into Dashboard. So
I don't think
fine.
good old is the way I'd describe him.
Me either.
No, but
there was a time when Napster and LimeWire were still a thing, and it was like Good Charlotte days. I was doing anything hot water music. I was trying to look up anything in that same genre that was like.
This is like unintentionally a throwback episode for me. Like both
fucking hot water music.
I know.
Jesus Christ.
Both of you keep saying things that I like that I'm just like. 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Hot water music. Holy cow. I haven't heard that phrase in
15.
Yeah, 15 years.
Yeah, so I think that was the genre where I was just like, anybody that played at Warped Tour, I was like, yes, like give me them, give me all of whatever I could find from them. But growing up, it was just a lot of whatever was on the radio, like until I got probably to high school is when I finally was like, and I could just download songs.
So round about the time you met me, and I improved your life.
Yeah. Let's just say that. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, totally.
So actually, that record having little to no impact on like your immediate life leads us into the next question that I have for everybody, which I'll direct right at you, which is, do you still listen to the record regularly? And
No.
Oh no, really? All right, well hold on, because I got a bit of a follow-up. Well, my other question was going to be, does it hold up? Like when you hear it, do you go, oh, that reminds me of that time, or do you listen to it and you go, that's a killer record, as much as it was then as it is now? But you're saying no. Like,
no, I don't.
You don't ever, like if you're driving along, and we'll put it in today's, you're driving along and you got Spotify, you don't ever go, I need to hear Jagged Little Pill right now.
Nope. When it's on the radio, I'm like, yep, this takes me back to the first CD that I bought, and then I change the station. And it's not even that I hate it. So, I don't even know what it is. Like, it's
A, you don't play it voluntarily.
Nope.
And B, when you do hear it, it's more of a nostalgic thing?
Yes. It's more like I can remember that I can remember being in Sam Goody or whatever, buying a CD, and I can see the album cover, and I can remember playing the album, and it's not that I don't dislike it at all. I just it's
the only thing that's weird about that to me is you're a lyric person.
Yeah.
And the lyrics of that record hold up. They hold up. Like the track I talked about earlier, All I Really Want, whew, she ain't joking around on that. Yeah, All That She Wants. The lyrics of that hold up too, actually. But the lyrics of all I Really Want hold up. You know, and so does Ironic, except for the fact that she's
ironic,
not, that she's not using the
I don't know.
Maybe
right. Maybe I overplayed it. Maybe it was overplayed in general. I feel like
Appetite for Destruction was that way for me, where I was like, it was about 1997 or so before I was like, if you put on Paradise City, we're going to have words.
And then there was the whole, that what she's saying is an ironic thing. So there was that whole, everyone was talking about it, being like, this isn't ironic and this song is dumb, which I don't think it's dumb at all, but it was just like, it just got so overplayed probably.
That's for sure.
It's still on the radio all the time today. So it's been like 20-something years for me being like, and it was just there. It's still just there. I don't dislike it at all. I've never craved to turn on Alanis Morissette.
Yeah.
So
one of the big reasons why I put that record on, like when I actually bust out the LP and put it on, is because, and a lot of people don't know this, but Flea played the bass line on. He didn't play on the whole record, but he played on You Ought to Know.
I did not know that.
And that's crazy. I didn't know that.
Oh boy! When we're done, unironically, we'll play that first. That track, Flea's bass line is out. Like, if you've never listened to that song for the bass, when we're done here, I'll put it on. You listen to just the bass. Flea is handling business on that track, and it's like if you're not listening for it, you won't notice it.
Right.
But man, Flea handles 10 kind of business on that track, and I actually don't. I'm sure there's a backstory there as to why he ended up on it. There's a lot of things like that in music history where like somebody you don't know is playing on some other track, like one of Warrant's biggest hits, Cherry Pie. Warrant guitar players aren't even playing the solo on that song. CC DeVille is from Poison, because the guitar players had already gone home from Warrant.
It's like everybody used to just end up on everybody else's shit back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually still happens now, but like, it's just weird that no one really thinks about that or knows
every
about
R&B track that comes out that says, here's the name of the artist featuring so-and-so, 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 and so-and-so. So. But anyways, so same question over to you, Kyle. Like, what do you still listen to it regularly, and or if you do, is it a nostalgic thing, or does it hold up?
As great as that album was or is in hip-hop history, I do not listen to it anymore. I may end up listening to a track or two here and there, but he went on to put out other stuff that I like more than that, so I end up listening to other things that he's done versus that. Like, he did the whole project called Diddy Dirty Money, and it's called Last Train to Paris, and he totally changed the kind of music he was doing. It was just more like, I don't even know. It was just different.
Yeah.
And I hung on to that more than I hung on to his earlier stuff.
So, because, again, we're talking about a monster record that still to this day has songs played on the radio.
Yeah.
When you do hear it involuntarily, it's a nostalgia thing then?
Yeah, and To be honest,
and I want to say something real quick. When I say nostalgia, I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean like, I was dumb to listen to that.
No. Yeah.
No, I mean, like, when you hear it, do you go, oh, I remember that, ordering that from the CD catalog or whatever?
Yeah, well, I feel more nostalgia in the air when I listen to stuff like Slipknot.
Mm-hmm.
Because that time of my life was, like, super crazy and hectic, and, like when I went and seen them live for the first time, like, I was like, oh my god, like, this is, like, the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
Everything was just re-happening all over again, and,
Sure.
like, so if I turn on Wait and Bleed from Slipknot, that's on their first record, that brings me back to that time.
But you would put that on before you would Puffy. Or No Way Out, specifically.
Yeah, yes. 100%.
I hear you. Well, anybody who knows me knows that I listen to that Elvis record regularly. all
Recently
the time.
played that.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is and this is why I put that secondary question in there, is it holds up. The man was on fire at that time.
Absolutely.
I mean, the man was absolutely on fire at that time in 72. And there's versions of the songs on there. Like I say, Hound Dog, he even just reinvented because he was bored with it. But instead of just going, and years later, he would return to just going, Hound Dog, I'm sick of this song, like, and just and get it out there. But at that time, he was still playing with it enough and had enough passion to want to reinvent it, you know. But the songs on there, like last week I was talking about listening to You Don't Have to Say You Love Me, because I had seen it on or heard it on Mr. Robot, the Dusty Springfield version. Mm-hmm. His version of it on there, and again, this is another subject for another time, but he was going through so much personal turmoil at the time that his version of You Don't Have to Say You Love Me on there, you can listen to it and just be like, that guy's hurting, you know. And that's why it sticks with me. You know, now there might be some listeners who would be like, well, yeah, of course Elvis holds up, you know, like, yeah, you know, we're not talking about, you know, Puffy's record or whatever. And I don't mean to bring up Elvis like, you know, people would be surprised that he held up. But when people talk about Elvis, they almost always, his life goes from 56 to 68. People forget or completely disregard that era, like 68 to 77. And I think you're making a big mistake if you do, and it's totally by accident. Like, in another time, in another lifetime, if I don't buy that record, I could be the same person. You know, like I could, and I feel like, you know, when I've played that record, there's probably been at least a small amount of you has been like, wow, Elvis still had it in the 70s. Oh, you know, you can make arguments up and down for the rest of the 70s, but in that time, in that place, he still had it, and it definitely holds up for me. If for nothing else, like another thing he does, You Lost That Love and Feeling on there. That's like one of the all-time great songs. And having that voice that he had, he could have just turned in a version that when we play that record, I could say for you, oh, he's going to do You Lost That Love and Feeling, but it's just an okay version, you know, because he could do that and get away with it. But the version on it, you're just like, holy cow, you know. And as a side note, that record is one of only 5 shows. He sold out Madison Square Garden 5 times in 2 days. Yeah,
That's
so he did.
insane.
Yeah, he did 3 shows one day and 2 the other. And I don't know. I know it was in June of 72. I don't know which day's which. I know the record is from the evening show on one of them. But if you do 5 shows in a row with the same set list, to have that feeling on any of the 5 shows is, you know, fantastic. And I know he had at least done one that day. So, you know, for me, it definitely holds up. And and like I say, you talk about a record reinventing itself to you, to just realize recently that I can hold that record responsible for my varied tastes going forward. The only music that's not represented on that record that I listen to is rap, and that's because it wasn't invented until like 8 years later. You know.
Makes sense.
And I also think that that's part of the reason why I was so open to rap too. You know, one of the things you hear so much is, you know, that Elvis took so much from the African American culture, and he didn't so much take it as he was trying to put it out there to other people. And I think that's one of the things, like when you hear Elvis sing I Can't Stop Loving You, and then 2, 3, 4 years later in my timeline you hear rap music and the same feelings there. It's the same thing, you know. So,
you know, what's funny, when if I was to go back and listen to something off of No Way Out, I immediately will end up going down a rabbit hole and end up listening to Black Rob, Woe, and Mace, and all these other artists that I listened to all back then, back to back to back.
And that's the magic, isn't it?
Yes, and I do.
I mean, for everybody,
yes, like
everybody
I remember
but Michelle.
I remember all of this. Like this is great.
Womp womp.
Do you know even like, okay, so if you like, for example, as soon as we're done, I'm going to put on You Ought to Know so we can listen to the bass line. At no point will you be like, oh, I remember this, that, and like nothing. Just completely devoid of feeling.
Yep.
Wow. All right. Well, I really don't have a way to recover from that. And and for the listeners who have gotten to know Michelle, I think you are passionate about music. So it's funny to me that one, like for a lot of people, that first record is such a milestone. And I'm not being funny when I say this for you. It's just like, nope.
It's shocking that I remember.
And it's such a monster too. It's not like you're like, and I don't want to insult anybody, but okay, let's say the Meredith Brooks record. It's not like you're like, oh, I bought that whole Meredith
whole thing,
Brooks. Yeah. And then the two of us are like, well, I don't know, tell us about the rest of the songs. So you're like, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, you bought a monster, and like that connects with. I'm sure there's listeners right now that are just like, oh, that record meant everything to me or whatever, and you're just like, nah, bro.
Yeah. No, it's not that it didn't mean anything, and I still remember it to this day because it did mean something. It just is not like, I'm never like, oh, I need to hear that song right now. Like we talk about, you need to hear that. I just more like a fond memory that takes me back. So
no, I get what you're saying. I just and I'm not being funny when I say this, and it's certainly not meant in an insulting way, but like that's so foreign to me. Like that Elvis record, I'll fight you over it. Like, I got 2 pressings over there. If y'all try and leave with either one of them, there's going to be a problem. Like, you know what I mean?
I think my third record was Mickey Mouse Unplugged. So if that's where you want to go with this conversation, that also doesn't mean anything to me anymore. So
there's a whole cross section of Guns N' Roses fans right now listening, being like, GNR never put out an Unplugged album. But have you heard the thing where? I'll cover it offline, but there's a lot of GNR fans that make a comparison between Axl's singing voice these days and a certain
What was on
mouse.
Mickey Mouse Unplugged?
I don't remember.
Have I told you lately that I love you, I assume? Like, you did the Rod Stewart version?
That and there was a Kermit the Frog one.
I have to assume they weren't doing any cuts off the Nirvana Unplugged record.
I don't think so.
Like Mickey Mouse doing Down in a Hole from the Alice in Chains Unplugged.
I don't remember what was on it, but there was that one, and there was a Kermit the Frog one with Miss Piggy. There was a whole record, and I also bought that CD at some other point in my life. Because,
Intentionally?
Intentionally, on purpose. I'm pretty sure it was when I was going through my phase. I bought Weird Al at the same time. There was a whole phase.
We'll do a series on Al.
No,
Al's a whole different ballgame.
But I think I was going through these parodies and these funny songs, and that's what I was. Anyways, we got way off track.
So what you're saying is it's a good thing that this record, or this particular episode, is about our
first
initial
records. Oh, yeah.
records, as opposed to the second, third, fourth records that we bought.
Yeah.
Actually, what's funny is I couldn't even tell you where I went from there, but it certainly was not Mickey Mouse Unplugged.
I don't remember a lot of CDs that I bought until I worked at Media Play. Other than that, like, it was only when I got gift cards or it was listening to cassettes. I had a lot of cassettes, but yeah.
I had all those CDs of everyone that I mentioned up until a couple years ago.
Mason.
Yeah, when I was flipping through my CD books, I'm like, oh my god, like I remember all this stuff.
All the originals too.
Yeah, it was all the original stuff.
Not the CDRs with the Sharpie scratch on.
No, I had a lot of those too.
Yeah.
But it was all the original stuff that came out in like 96, 97, 98, 99, all those times. But I ended up just digitizing it all, putting it on my computer, and donating the CDs to like Goodwill or whatever.
Yeah, this very PC that I'm on right now has like, I don't even know, 90,000 songs or something that's not from streaming or downloads or anything. It's all from, we talked about those CD books. This PC that I'm using right now, one by one, ripped all those CDs so that people that were in my truck don't have to wait for me to find the song anymore.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. So this is another one. I think this was a great discussion overall. I think it's a lot better than just saying, "Oh, well, this is the first album that I bought," and
the end.
I think it's I think it matters to not to you, of course, but to, but I do think that 90% of the time it really matters. Like, I think a lot of people go down a certain path based on what they bought first.
Yeah.
And I feel so lucky to have, I mean, as a kid, you walk over there, and if that record's not sitting there and he's not dressed that way on the cover, like, there's so many ifs, leading all the way up to, and then we're not here today.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's the definition of the butterfly effect, and I feel really, really thankful for that, and who knows how things would have went for you if you would have heard something that completely
If
changed.
I bought Mickey Unwrapped first?
Yeah, if you unwrapped or unplugged.
I don't remember. Actually.
Well, it's important because
I like
people are
unwrapped
all right,
better.
all right, hold on.
Yeah, because
Unwrapped sounds better.
people are going to need to look this up on Spotify. Because wouldn't it be great if it was on Spotify?
Yeah, without this whole thing coming up, I don't think that I would have actually tried to evaluate how I got from point A to point B.
Sure.
And not once talking about it, then you made me realize that it was probably Eminem because he bridged the gap between
And isn't it
all of
funny
the rap
that-
I was listening to and all of the rock I was listening to.
Isn't it funny? Oh boy. Hold on, it is unwrapped. She's showing
sorry.
us the cover.
I'm sorry.
Everyone should Google Mickey Unwrapped and
It
see
is unwrapped.
this
It's
picture.
exactly. It would go along with what Kyle was talking about, all the rap. So I was listening to just Mickey Unwrapped.
Sure.
So
One more side note about Eminem. What's funny about Eminem too is that when he first came out, he wasn't using a lot of samples and whatnot, and he's progressed that way, which is kind of funny. Like, I'm going to screw this up. I think it's "Recovery" that Berserk was the single off of, and it's got the Billy Squire sample, and it's like I heard Dizzy Rascal use a Billy Squire sample in 2001, 2002, something like that, and then here we are like 15 years later, and Eminem, or when that record came out, it's 15 years later, and Eminem's using a Billy Squire sample, so it was kind of...
He used to always use stuff either produced by himself or Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
And now off of music...
What did Dr. Dre say? Nothing, you idiots.
On Music to Be Murdered By, there's a bunch of newer producers that he used as producers on the record.
real quick.
Oh, boy. Are you going to enlighten us with the track listing for Mickey Rap?
Mickey Unwrapped, which came out in 1994.
Just for the listeners, everyone remembers the first time you bought Mickey Unwrapped. If you try and find an original pressing on vinyl of Mickey Unwrapped,
It's on Discogs right now for $8.99.
On vinyl?
No.
Oh, I was going to say buy it. Buy it. I would own that record just so we can play it every so often.
There's songs called Ice Ice Mickey. Whoop, there it went. Bow Wow to the Beat, which has Whoopi Goldberg on it.
Sure.
You Can't Botch This.
Sure.
And The Color of Music featuring Color Me Bad.
All right.
So, Ducks in the Hood. So, rap for the kids.
Oh, boy.
So, I did own that CD for
So
sure.
I just want to say again that it's great we didn't cover the second or third albums that we bought.
Yeah.
Ducks in the Hood.
Yep.
Holy cow. I owned a Mickey Mouse record, but when I was like 6.
Oh, I was definitely older than 6.
Yeah.
So,
And I want to state one more time that we are in no way, and I know you didn't mean to, in no way lumping in Weird Al with that.
No, I was just saying, I think I was going through this fun music phase where I was just like, I want to hear Mickey Mouse sing rap, and I want to hear Weird Al do puns and cover songs.
Weird Al was and continues to be an American original legend.
Yes.
But I digress on the Al statement. I'm literally sitting inches away from my plastic accordion that came with my Weird Al vinyl box set, so I'm getting kind of protective of Al over here. But we can do a whole episode about Al. Al was fantastic. So, anyways, I think we've had a quite a fun and engaging discussion. Hopefully, everybody thinks so. We're gonna go ahead and talk a little bit about wrap up. Don't tune out just yet because we got some important stuff to talk to everybody about. Starting with Michelle, she's going to talk about how you can interact with us and follow us on social media. Michelle, if people want to get at us on the Facebooks and the Grams and the tweets, how do they do it?
They find us on the internets. They can.
All right. Well, that was Michelle with it.
We're on the onlines now.
Where does one go to the onlines to find us?
You can find us on Instagram at Infectious Groove Pod, and you can find us on Facebook at Infectious Groove Podcast, and we are on Twitter as well at Infectious Pod, and we're on YouTube now, which is great. And Russ has put in a lot of work to get us on YouTube, so please go follow our YouTube page and listen to us there. And
that's pretty much the best places. I want to talk a little bit about some of the
SoundCloud.
social. Oh yeah, SoundCloud. Yeah, I created a SoundCloud page for us too. I think for now I'm just going to use it for like little highlights and stuff. Like for example, if somebody happens to mention the Mickey Unwrapped album, I might put that highlight up there, that type of thing. But I want to talk a little bit about some of the feedback that we got because I thought some of it was cool. Number one, I think we've had more than a few people chimed in on our Facebook page about the lip syncing intriguing discussion.
Yeah, that was a good discussion.
There's more than a few things. Like, for example, our friend Chris pointed out Gary Sharon, and Gary Sharon moves around as much or more than, and I don't know if either of you looked up any clips, but holy cow, if you're gonna say, well, they were moving around a lot and so they could lip sync.
Yeah, when he said that, I was like, yeah, he's right.
Yeah, Gary Sharon is definitely the stopper of that conversation. But one other comment I wanted to mention that I thought was great was right before we went on air, I had a person on a music forum that I post on sent me a comment that said, and I want to make sure I get this right, and they said when they listen to our podcast, it sounds to them, what they envision in their head is like we're all sitting on a brown couch and the place smells of perfume and whiskey and vinyl. And I thought, well, that's not far off from what's happening.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Like the brown couch part is off, but other than that, like, yep, that's pretty much.
I took a shower today,
Yeah.
so I smell like perfume.
Fantastic. So it is fun for us to hear the comeback. Doesn't mean I know we jokingly said last time, "Come fight us, bro," or something along those lines. Like
That sounds like something we
that sounds
probably
like,
would say.
Sounds like something that was brought up on Making Unwrapped would say.
Yeah, that's where I learned how to fight.
So we want the interaction either way. Like no matter where you follow us or whatever else. If you got to send us a text, if you got to leave a comment on Facebook, if you want to leave a comment on Instagram, we definitely want the interaction. What I've heard so far is a bunch of great feedback from people and saying, "Oh, it feels like a conversation that I'm part of," or I really like listening to you guys talk. We want to hear what you guys
Talk
have to
back
say.
to us.
Yeah, absolutely. One other thing that we want to talk about real quick before we go is how you can support us. We mentioned last week we have a couple friends of ours that were very sweet and went to the Anchor page to give us support. I'll throw it over to Kyle. How can people do that if they want to support us?
All you have to do is go to the Anchor page and click the little support button, and then you can choose to whatever denomination you choose to support us. Also, I noticed a couple other of the platforms that we're on offer a link to the same area on the Anchor page to support us on. It doesn't there's probably also some other ones that like have their own support systems. Like I said, we are
Sure.
everywhere now, and some of them have their own thing where like we can people can support us on that platform.
Right.
But the main one is on Anchor.
Okay. So the other thing that I've heard is that, and we've had friends who have been very gracious and given us good Facebook reviews
Yes.
so far, which we're extremely appreciative of. But I've heard that I don't want to say matters more, but it helps us more,
Yeah.
I guess is a better way to say it, if they leave reviews on Apple.
Yeah, so we're on iTunes and Spotify. It would be very, very helpful if you go on to iTunes, listen to us on there, and leave us a review. And you can also subscribe through all of the other different apps that you're listening through, so you get all of our newest episodes. But
the big deal is if you're listening through Apple,
yes, make
leave us a
sure to
review.
leave us a review. Bad, good, indifferent, whatever. A review is a review.
I will pay for good reviews.
I'm sure a lot of people do.
Sure. Don't
yeah.
even get me started
Yeah.
on that.
Oh yeah.
There's a whole world out there of people
But yeah,
who pay for followers.
If you want to help us keep this thing going, you can just go click on that button on the Anchor page.
and if you're listening on Apple, please make sure to leave. I'm going to just outright ask for a positive review. So anyways, that is a little bit about where you can find us. Lastly, I want to say that you can, for next week, we have another good topic, I think. We're going to talk about finding new music. Because these days, all I hear about is there's no good X or there's no good Y or whatever, and I'm here to tell you, I'm sitting here in the middle of 1,300 records. I got plenty of new music that's fantastic, So we'll get into it next week. We'll talk about how we do it, how we hear of other people doing it, and if nothing else, we'll look for your feedback, see how it is that you're finding music, and maybe we'll learn something from everybody as well and get into more of that good stuff. So.
One more thing.
Yeah.
If you are having trouble finding us on any of the platforms that you listen to us on, make sure that you put in the whole name of the podcast.
Yeah.
Infectious Groove Podcast.
Yeah.
Because there is a group called the Infectious Groove. Yeah, that comes up when you search just the first two parts of the name.
Right.
So you'll find music instead of a podcast.
Right. And zero disrespect to them, of course.
Yeah. I'm just saying if you want to find us specifically.
If you're looking for them, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
You want to type in the whole
That's cool
name.
too. We ain't mad. All right, everybody, we greatly appreciate you checking it out. I noticed everybody should notice that we had a little bit different format this week. We're going to try and do the show more in 2 halves going forward, so hopefully everybody is cool with that and likes it, because we're going to try and keep that up going forward. So we'll leave you with this. The same thing we always say: without music, life would be a mistake. Even if you bought Alanis Morissette first and it meant nothing to you.
But Mickey Unwrapped, though.
But Mickey Unwrapped, though.
Love you all.
Without music, life would be a mistake. We'll see you next time.